What would you do if you got a call at 3 a.m. from a number that doesn't exist? One nurse answered it, and walked straight into a nightmare she could never unsee. A haunted house, a broken doll, and a secret that refused to stay buried. But the real twist. She never should have been there at all. Stay with us, because the ending will leave you speechless. Studio microphone. Before we dive into this incredible story, backhand index pointing right, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss a single twist or life-changing moment. Speech balloon, like, share and spread the word, because this is more than just storytelling. Sparkles. Each tale is packed with powerful lessons to inspire, uplift, and make you think. Brain, let's grow wiser, stronger, and more connected. One story at a time. Rain lashed against the window pane. The night was soaked in shadows. Street lights flickered like tired eyes. Mira, a night shift nurse, jolted awake. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A man's voice crackled through. Urgent, desperate. My daughter, she is not breathing right. Please, I need help. The address followed, rushed and barely audible. No ambulance. No explanation. Something in his voice clawed at her chest. She dressed quickly, shoving on her scrubs. No time to ask questions. No time to doubt. The cab smelled of wet vinyl and old coffee. Her breath fogged the window as she leaned into the night. The address led her to a quiet mansion on the city's edge. A wrought iron gate stood open, creaking gently in the wind. The driveway was lined with towering pines, their branches twitching in the storm. She hesitated at the door. Knock once. It swung open before her hand touched it a second time. A man stood in the hallway. Disheveled suit. Sleeves rolled up. Eyes like ice. Sharp, frantic, beautiful. You came, he said, barely above a whisper. Mira nodded, her heart pounding. Where is she? He stepped aside. The house was too quiet. No child's cry. No hurried footsteps. Just the soft tick of a distant grandfather clock. He led her up the spiral staircase. The walls were lined with portraits. Old formal, watching. He pushed open a door. A little girl lay curled in bed, eyes wide open. She was breathing. Peacefully. Mira stepped forward, confused. She is fine. The man exhaled, as if releasing a weight. I panicked. Hey. I thought she was gone. Mira checked the girl anyway. Warm. Normal pulse. No fever. She turned to him. Sir, she is okay. But next time you must call emergency services. He looked at her as if he did not hear. As if her presence was the only thing anchoring him. My name is Rowan, he said, voice steadier. She looks like her mother when she sleeps. Mira glanced at the girl, then back at him. The room dimmed suddenly as the hallway light died. Thunder cracked above them. He flinched. She passed away. Last winter. His voice trembled now. I have not slept since. Mira's heart softened. But something felt off. The girl had not spoken a word. Not a blink. Not a twitch. She moved closer. The child's gaze followed, unblinking. Mira knelt. Sweetheart, can you tell me your name? No response. The air in the room thickened. Heavy. Ill. The man had not moved. Just watched. Rowan. When was the last time she spoke to you? He stared at the girl. His mouth opened. Closed. She has not. Not since that night. Mira's stomach dropped. What night? She drowned. The words came like ice water. In the lake behind the house. Mira stood up too fast. The girl was still watching her. Her pupils were wide. Too wide. The skin under her eyes was slightly gray. The covers on the bed looked untouched. Cold. Not lived in. Mira turned to Rowan. He was crying now. Silent tears. I could not let her go, he said. I called you because you are the first person who picked up. Mira stepped back. The air turned colder. She heard something behind her. Soft giggle. He turned. The girl was smiling now. Her eyes never left Mira. Mira's throat tightened. She looked at Rowan again. But he was gone. No. He was still there, but he was standing behind her, whispering, "You came." She spun around, heart hammering. The bed was empty. The girl was standing now next to Mira, still smiling, still silent, and Mira could not move her legs. Her knees locked. A tremor ran up her spine. The child's hand reached out, ice cold against Mira's skin. She tried to pull away. Could not. The room felt impossibly small. The walls seemed closer, breathing almost. Mira opened her mouth to scream. Nothing came out. Only a dry gasp. The girl tilted her head, studying her, like a bird watching something before the peck. "She likes you," Rowan's voice murmured. Mira turned toward him, but he was not there anymore. Only a shadow against the door, flickering, shifting. She backed away, dragging her legs like lead. The girl followed, low, measured. Every step echoed louder than it should have. "Why am I here?" Mira finally choked. Rowan's shadow answered, voice stretched and hollow. "Because you answered." Thunder boomed again, rattling the glass. The door slammed shut behind her. The girl stood inches away now. Her eyes rolled back just for a second, then snapped forward again. "Stay," she said. Her voice was wrong. Too old. Too deep. Mira lunged for the window. It would not open. She beat on it with her fists. The glass pulsed under her touch like skin. Then she heard it. A step. More than one set. Outside the room. Pacing. Marching. Dozens. A chorus of whispers rose up from the floorboards. Low. Chanting. Mira dropped to her knees. Praying. Begging. The girl crouched beside her, eyes wide and glowing. Rowan stood behind her now, hand resting gently on the girl's shoulder. "You do not have to leave," he said. His eyes were soft again, pleading. She is lonely." Mira's heartbeat slammed in her ears. She looked down. Her hands were turning pale, translucent. The whispers grew louder, wrapping around her like vines. She tried to scream again. This time a sound came, shattered and raw. The girl leaned in, pressed her forehead to Mira's, and whispered a single word. "Forever." The room shuddered. A violent tremble rippled through the floor. Mira felt it in her teeth, in her bones. Then stillness. Utter, impossible stillness. Even the thunder outside had stopped. No rain. No wind. Just silence thick as syrup. Rowan knelt beside them now. His breath fogged in the cold. He reached out, brushing Mira's hair back with eerie tenderness. "You are part of the house now," he said. "As I am. As she is." Mira jerked back, her spine hitting the wall. Her body felt sluggish, distant, like it belonged to someone else. "I am not staying," she rasped. Rowan smiled. "It was wrong. Too wide. To come. You already are." The girl laughed again. It echoed, not just in the room but in Mira's head, behind her eyes, inside her skull. She tried to stand. Her legs buckled. She crawled toward the door, fingers scraping the floorboards. They left no mark, no sound, as if she were not really touching them. The girl floated behind her now, feet not touching the ground, eyes empty of anything human. "You should not have answered the call," she whispered. "I did not mean to," Mira sobbed. "I did not know." "It does not matter," Rowan said, standing again. "She chose you." He pointed to the girl. And the girl nodded slowly. "She wants you to stay," he said. "To help take care of the others." Mira froze. "Others?" He turned. The closet door creaked open behind her. One tiny hand slipped out. Then another. Dozens. Cold. Pale fingers gripping the doorframe. Eyes appeared in the dark. "Wait. Me." Touching. A boy stepped forward. Face bruised. Mouth sewn shut with red thread. Then a girl with no eyes. Another with skin like wet paper. They crept out one by one, filling the room. Silent. Smiling. Mira screamed. No one outside heard. No one ever did. The house swallowed sound like a grave. The girl reached out again, took Mira's hand gently. pulled her up. "Say goodbye," she said. Mira turned toward the window. Her reflection was gone. Only the girl's face stared back. Then the lights flickered and went out. Darkness consumed everything. Complete. It pressed against Mira's eyes like damp cloth. She could not tell if her eyes were open anymore. Could not tell if she was breathing. But she could feel them. All of them. Cold fingers brushing her arms. Tiny hands gripping her ankles. Whispers curling into her ears. "Stay. Stay. Stay." A faint glow bloomed in the center of the room. Sickly. Like light leaking from under a coffin lid. The children stood in a circle around her now. Faces lit from beneath. Shadowed eyes. Empty grins. The girl stood in the center, holding a doll. His head was cracked. One glass eye missing. She extended it toward Mira. "It is yours now," she said. Mira did not take it. Could not. Her arms would not move. Rowan appeared behind the children. Silent. But his skin was gray. Vain. His eyes glowed the same as the girl's. "You understand now," he said. "There is no morning here. No time. No end. This is where the forgotten stay." Mira's mind reeled. Her thoughts slipped like oil through her grasp. "I just wanted to help," she whispered. The girl nodded. "You did. And now you will help forever." The doll suddenly twitched in her hands. Its good eye turned to Mira. Its mouth stretched open, impossibly wide. Mira screamed again. But the sound did not leave her lips. It echoed only inside her. And something answered. From deep below the floor. A groan. Wet and ancient. The children turned their heads toward the sound. Smiling wider. The girl placed the doll at Mira's feet. "Say yes," she whispered. "Say yes and it will not hurt anymore." Mira's lips trembled. The floor began to crack. Hairline fractures. Glowing with red light. Heat rushed upward. The house groaned like something alive. Wood moaning. Nails snapping. And still the girl waited. Eyes locked on Mira's. "Say yes." The doll began to rise. Floating. Its broken mouth still open. A sound spilled from it. Like a heartbeat inside a scream. The others joined hands. A circle of silence and terror. The light grew brighter. The cracks spread wider. The ground trembled beneath her knees. And Mira, frozen, shaking, breathless, opened her mouth. She did not know if she was speaking, or if something else was speaking through her. But a single word came. And it was not yes. The word slipped out soft as dust. "No." The room inhaled. Everything paused. The doll stopped midair. The red glow dimmed, pulsing like a wounded heart. The children blinked once, twice, then stared at her. The girl tilted her head again, confused. "No," she repeated, voice tighter now, as if the sound stung her. "You do not get to say no." Mira rose slowly, legs trembling beneath her. But she stood. Somehow. Somewhere deep inside something had returned to her. Memory. Face. Her father's hand holding hers after her first failed nursing exam. His words. "Do not run from the dark. Walk through it." She looked down at the doll. It trembled in the air. Then cracked again. Thin splinters racing across its porcelain face. The children began to shift. Their smiles faded. Their eyes wavered, blinking rapidly. The whispers faltered. Rowan stepped forward. His eyes were no longer glowing. They looked tired, vain. "I tried to say no once," he said softly. "But the house, it feeds on the broken. It kept me. It will keep you too." Mira shook her head. "I am not broken. I was tired. But not broken." The floor cracked louder beneath her. But this time, it was not reaching for her. It was pulling away. Retreating. The red light receded like a dying fire. The doll shrieked suddenly, a sound too sharp for human ears, then dropped to the floor. Shattered. The girl let out a cry. Not a child's cry, but a raw, ancient sound full of fury and grief. The children backed away from Mira. Some looked afraid. Some looked relieved. The closet door slammed shut on its own. The portraits in the hallway below crashed to the ground. Rowan fell to his knees. The house screamed. Glass shattered in every room. Lights burst overhead. And then, a brilliant white light erupted from beneath Mira's feet. Blinding. Warm. Real. The children shielded their eyes. The girl covered her face and hissed like steam. Mira. She stepped into the light, not knowing where it would lead, but knowing one thing for certain. She was not staying. The light engulfed her. It wrapped around her like arms that remembered love. Warmth pulsed through her chest. She could feel her heartbeat again. Steady. Human. The floor vanished beneath her feet. She was falling, no, floating through silence. No screams. No whispers. Just breath. Her own breath. Sharp gasp. Her eyes flew open. She was on a sidewalk. Wet pavement glistened under early dawn light. Rain still dripped from rooftops. Cat darted across the street. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. It was still in her pocket. Battery low. 3:47 a.m. Had it only been 40 minutes? Or 40 years? She stood, legs weak but solid. Behind her. The house. The windows dark. The gate closed. No sign of light or life. Not even the wind dared to pass through it. She backed away. Step by step. Tears streamed down her face, silent and steady. She did not look away until she reached the curb. And then, she turned and ran. Feet slapping against the wet ground. Breath ragged in the cold. No destination. Just away. Far from the house. Far from the girl. From the doll. From Rowan. But as she ran, she did not see the upstairs curtain shift. Did not see the small pale hand lift it gently. Did not hear the faint whisper that followed her down the street. Carried by wind that should not have known her name. We will call again. Morning came slowly. Gray and heavy, like the sky was holding back a secret. Mira sat alone at a cafe near the hospital. Her coffee had gone cold. She had not touched it. Her scrubs were damp. Mud streaked her shoes. But no one noticed. Or maybe no one dared to. She stared at the phone in her hand. The screen was cracked. The call log was empty. No missed calls. No received calls. No number. As if it had never happened. But her body remembered. Every nerve on edge. Her heartbeat still too fast. And the eyes. The girl's eyes. Still burned behind her eyelids when she blinked. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came. A nurse from her floor passed by, pausing mid-step. Mira. You all right? She forced a nod. Just tired. The nurse smiled. You are always here before shift. You should get some sleep. Mira nodded again. The nurse walked on. But Mira's hand was shaking. Not from exhaustion. From something else. Something still inside her. Her phone vibrated. Once. She looked down. No number. Just a message. We remember. The screen flickered. Went black. A crack slithered across it like a vein. And far away, deep inside a house where no one lived, a child laughed softly. And waited. Mira's breath caught in her throat. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Stay dark. She pressed the power button. Nothing. No restart. Just her reflection staring back from the glass. Paler than before. Eyes wider. Something inside her had shifted. Something small. But permanent. She stood up, coffee forgotten. The cafe buzzed around her. Normal, alive. Baby cried. A couple laughed at a corner table. Someone spilled sugar. The world had not changed. But she had. She stepped outside, pulling her jacket tighter. The morning air felt wrong against her skin. Colder than it should have been. Like the night had not really ended. As she crossed the street, her phone buzzed again. She stopped. Look. No light. No sound. But the weight of it in her pocket was different. Heavier. She pulled it out. Still black. Still cracked. But something was there. Faint. etched into the screen from the inside. One word in tiny white letters. Soon. Mira froze. And behind her across the street, a tall man in a dark coat stood still. No umbrella. No expression. Just watching. He looked familiar. His eyes were pale. Too pale. Like ice under frozen glass. And in his hand, small porcelain doll. His head cracked. One eye gone. Mira did not scream. She did not run. She only whispered, "No," and turned away. But the chill in her bones told her. The story was not over. Not even close. She walked faster. Each step loud in her ears. But the world around her stayed silent. No horns. No voices. The city had turned to shadow. Muted. Distant. Her chest tightened. She dared not look back. She could feel him. Still there. Still watching. The doll in his hand pulsing like a heartbeat. Like it knew her name. She ducked into a pharmacy. Bright lights. Harsh fluorescence. A wall of colors and packaging. People moved past her. Faces unreadable. She headed straight to the bathroom. Locked the door behind her. Gripped the sink. Stared into the mirror. Her reflection blinked back. But just slightly off. Barely. Wong. She leaned closer. The lights flickered. Once. Then twice. The mirror darkened. Her reflection did not move. Did not blink. Did not breathe. And behind that frozen version of herself, the girl appeared. Standing silently. Head tilted. Eyes wide. The cracked doll clutched in her arms. Mira stumbled back, knocking over the soap dispenser. The mirror cleared. Normal. She was alone again. But her reflection, now it followed every move just a half-second too late. He turned, reached for the door. Rattled. Would not open. A breath fogged the mirror behind her. Not hers. Letters formed in the condensation. Low. Deliberate. She chose you. Mira backed away, pressing herself into the tiled wall. The lights buzzed, then hummed louder. The faucet began to drip. Thick drops red as rust. She shut her eyes. Willed herself to wake up. To break free. But when she opened them again, there was no mirror. Only a door. Wooden. And from beneath it, soft light spilled. And the sound of tiny footsteps. Coming closer. The footsteps paused just beyond the door. A shadow shifted under the crack. Too small to be an adult. Too steady to be afraid. Mira's breath hitched. Her back pressed tighter against the wall. The tiles felt cold. Like something had seeped through them long ago and never left. She stared at the door. It pulsed softly as if breathing. Knock. Not loud. Not urgent. Just patient. Breathe. Then silence. Mira's hands shook as she reached for the doorknob. Her fingers hovered, trembling in the air. She did not want to touch it. But something else did. A force in her chest. Faint but steady, pulling forward. She clenched her jaw. "No," she whispered again. And turned away. That was when the knob began to turn on its own. Slowly. Blick. Blick. Creaked open just an inch. Enough to see it. Dull. Lying in the center of the threshold. Its limbs were wrong now. Bent. Twisted. Like it had been broken and stitched together by unseen hands. Its one eye stared up at her. Glossy. Reflecting her face. But not her fear. The girl's voice came from the other side. Measured. "You keep saying no. But you came when we called. You opened the door once. Open it again." The walls began to hum. Soft at first. Then louder. Like a song being remembered. Mira dropped to her knees. Covered her ears. Did not help. The song was not in the room. It was in her. In her blood. In her bones. A lullaby from a place that had never known sleep. She screamed. A sound so sharp it split the light. And the door slammed shut. The mirror reappeared. Her reflection stared back. This time it wept. Silent tears streaming down its face. Mira touched her cheek. Dry. But her reflection cried harder. And whispered. "She is inside. Mira stood there, staring at her reflection. At the tears that were not hers. At the eyes that were no longer her own. She reached out slowly, pressing her palm to the mirror. The glass felt warm. It pulsed beneath her touch like skin, like breath. Then, without warning, the reflection smiled. Not cruelly, not childishly, just tired, like it had waited a long time. And it was finally free. The mirror shimmered, rippling like water, and Mira stepped back. Because the reflection did not copy her. Stayed. Hand still pressed to the glass. Smile still fixed. But Mira. She was not afraid anymore. Not exactly. She was something else. Older. Wiser. Tethered. She reached into her pocket. The phone buzzed once, then died completely. She dropped it into the trash. Then walked out of the bathroom. Out of the pharmacy. Out into the dawn. The streets were waking now. Cars moved. Dogs barked. Children laughed in the distance. The city had returned. So had she. But not as the same woman who answered that call. She would never be that woman again. Mira made her way to the hospital. She did not speak of what happened. She did not need to. Some truths lived too deep for language. Instead, she returned to work. One patient at a time. One shift after another. And if she moved more gently now, if she listened more closely when a child whispered in their sleep, if she paused a second longer at the sound of distant footsteps, no one questioned it. They only said she was kind, that she had a way of knowing when someone was lost, and how to bring them back. But some nights, in the silence between heartbeats, Mira still hears a knock. A patient, waiting, and she whispers back. Not tonight. And for now, that is enough.